NAOMA Whitehead, World War II. I had the pleasure of interviewing NAOMA in Abington, Virginia, September 8, 2008. She was 88 years old at the time. NAOMA was one of the first women to join the Women's Auxiliary Army Corps in 1943, which later became the Women's Army Corps. She was a teletypist with the Signal Corps, and her story is very enlightening because I have very few stories like this, and it's awesome to bring a woman of war to you today. This is being made possible by a grant from Ted Neves and the Neves family. If you'd like to sponsor one of my veteran stories, please contact me. The information is in the video description, and I would be glad and honored to have your support. So with great pleasure and honor, I bring to you a story that is one of my unsung heroes, NAOMA Whitehead. God bless you. Now.
88.
Okay. And now you were in the Army.
Right. I was the first girl to go into the Women's Auxiliary Army Corps. And then in 43, we were changed to the Women's Army Corps. And
why did you go in the Army?
Patriotism, excitement, sense of adventure. I wanted something more than my little job at the Eastman.
Tell me where you were and how you remember hearing the news when Pearl Harbor was attacked.
I was home. We were having dinner. It was a Sunday. And I remember my mother started crying because I had two older brothers and a younger brother, Army age. And of course we just had the radio then. And I told her, I first read about the Women's Auxiliary Corps. I was a student at WWII, the 2 years girls' college. And I saw an article in the Mademoiselle magazine that President Roosevelt had said he would give Ovida Culp Hobby the premise to develop an auxiliary corps of women. And I told Mother then, that was 1940. I said, if that's ever established, I'm going to join. No, you won't. My daddy said, camp followers, you will not be there. You will not go. At any rate, by 1942, after Pearl Harbor, little by little, they changed their minds and didn't fight me. And I signed, I first signed at an office at the recruiting office, and then waited and was called to Camp Lee, where I was inducted. So
that began your military service.
Right. I waited, I guess, a month or so, and then I was called to report to Des Moines in September of 42.
Well, we hear a lot about the men feeling called to duty in World War II, but we don't hear a lot about the women. You sense that same patriotic spirit and call to duty that the men did too.
Of course, of course.
Well, we don't hear much about that though.
Oh.
I haven't. I've interviewed a lot of women, but I hear when Pearl Harbor was attacked, all the men next day went and signed up and all that, but I'm sure it affected the women too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to go, of course, but my family said no, and it took a while for them to say, okay, go ahead.
So what was your job in the military?
I was a teletypist with the Signal Corps. Teletypes aren't even made now. They don't need them anymore. But I have a picture of a teletype machine, so that's a sort of a fancy typist. But we did send messages, because I was in Oral Bay and sending messages farther north in New Guinea, where MacArthur was headquartered. And I didn't do any great things, but I felt I certainly shared in the winning of the war.
Were you around any of the major battles in the Pacific as far as the communications or any interaction with any of the
No,
troops?
the only thing that I saw of the battles, when I left Oro Bay to go to New Guinea, I missed getting on the main plane with all of my buddies and had to go up on a mail plane. And I think maybe my trip up was better than theirs because the plane was smaller, and the pilots flew over WWII, where they were still bombing segments of the Japanese. And they flew low, and I saw the fires and everything. And then, of course, when I finally got to Manila, Manila was a shambles, and I have pictures of that. But
what were your thoughts back then about the war with the Japanese, or even the war that we were fighting in Europe against Hitler? I mean, you're obviously conscious of the fact that we're at war, but I mean, was there any doubt that we would win?
no, I knew we would. I knew we would. I was devastated the morning that I heard that President Roosevelt had that. We were in the mess hall when the news came, and everybody cried. What will happen to us now? We were afraid then. But
What year was that he died? 45?
yes, 45.
And then Truman took over?
Golly, was it 45 or 44?
Was it 44? I don't know.
I don't recall.
I thought it was 45, but
It could have been. It could have been 44.
That's okay.
Memory and dates.
that's okay. We don't need a date. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. So now, you're part of the Women's Auxiliary Corps
In the beginning,
in the beginning, and then
WAAC,
and then it became
WAC.
okay.
In
Is that what we call the WACs?
the WAC.
WAC. Okay. What about your typing? What type of communications or correspondence are you responsible for?
Just the sending of the messages, and it was supplies mostly. And I doubt that my group handled any troop movements or anything like that. We were responsible for getting supplies up to MacArthur. And of course, I have no idea what they were. Some of them were coded, and I don't remember now. I tried to remember how they were coded because I had a friend who worked in decoding in a separate building, and she worked with the same sort of tape. Our messages went on tapes just about an inch wide and just holes in them. I remember one thing. In the center, the old tapes were strung on huge nails hanging down from big rafters. And I was sending one night, just typing away, and suddenly my machine just started moving, walking away from me. And I thought, what on earth is going on? And I looked up, and those tapes were just swinging. There had been an earth tremor of some sort. Scared to death, because everybody said, oh, when there's a tremor, you're going to have a tidal wave. So we were going to die the next day. I think the next morning I walked way up on the beach. I thought, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die where a lot of women are screaming and carrying on. So I'm going to be up on the beach, me and my Lord. But it never came, not even a heavy surf.
And you were in New Guinea?
Yes, Oro Bay.
Okay. And you were there the whole time?
No. I was in Oro Bay and then went to Hollandia, which was in the northern part of New Guinea. We were on the bottom part, closer to Australia. And then on to Manila. So
how many months were you over there total?
a year and 4 months, I believe.
Did you write home? Did you write back home?
Oh, yes.
Where you weren't married or had a boyfriend?
No, my sweetheart was home. We had known each other at the Eastman, the man I married. So.
Was he in the service?
Oh, yes. And strangely enough, he had been in the service and was wounded and came home, and I saw him for 4 hours while I was having my overseas training in Chattanooga. And he had been in the hospital at Ora Bay for about 6 or 7 months, maybe 9. And, of course, then came home. When I went overseas, I knew I was going to Egypt because I had a friend in OSS who told me he had seen a roster of the girls who were going to Egypt. There was a Margaret Anderson there. But I never saw Egypt. And as I said before, there are many Margaret Andersons. I had a bad experience in New Guinea with another Margaret Anderson. And he had been home on furlough when my first little V-mail came. And he said he just pulled back the window and saw the APO, and he knew exactly where I was. APO 503, Ora Bay, New Guinea. That's where he had spent 9 months in the hospital. So strange.
Wow. So what's a good memory of your service overseas? Is there a particular memory that was a good memory, something that happened to you over there? Or
Oh, the camaraderie with my friends. There were 5 of us who were like sisters, closer than I am to my own sister. Of course, I'm the only one alive now. An experience that I cannot get out of my mind. We went across on the Matson liner. The Lurleen had been stripped, of course, of all of its luxurious things, and we had put into Lae, New Guinea, to pick up wounded soldiers, walking wounded. And the men were filing down one stair, going to the mess hall on the ship. And the women were going down the other, and there was like a big mezzanine between. And we heard this older WAC woman screaming and running across the mezzanine. And a young man was coming down this way. It was her son, and she hadn't known that he was wounded. And I can still just get emotional over that experience. So that's a real good memory. And just the lovely girls, people, the experiences of being there. Our barracks were right on the beach, and I spent every day I could on the beach, and I'm paying for it now with keratosis. Being fair, I have the sun damage, but I loved it then. We took an Atabrine pill every day, which turned us yellow, and then the sun turned into copper. Beautiful skin then. Not now.
Listening to you talk, I talked to a lot of men who've been in combat, and the camaraderie was very strong between them. And,
Absolutely.
And it's interesting hearing you talk about the
Absolutely.
camaraderie you had with these women. Are these memories still vivid in your mind, or does it seem like over 60 years ago?
Oh, no. Oh, no. They're right there. And every so often I dream about those who have gone. I can get emotional as I am now. It was a great 3 years of my life. And when things have started again, like this Iraq thing, I wish I were 22 again. I'll go again.
What are your thoughts about the women that serve today in combat and in military?
I wish them well, and just wish I were there rather than them. Envy. Of course, when I was in, we were not allowed to be in combat. I wouldn't really seek combat, but I certainly wouldn't shun it. I'm not afraid to die.
Why aren't you afraid to die?
I just am not afraid to die. I don't want to lie in a nursing home and waste away. I don't want to be in an accident and hurt somebody else. I don't want to hurt anybody. But my religion is in my head and my heart. I believe in God, and I talk to my Lord. I thank Him every day. I thank Him for you. Thank Him for the sunshine and everything. And for my 3 years in service.
Just real briefly, what do you think heaven's like?
I hope that it's family and loved ones. I hope I see everybody I love. The obituaries this morning carried a name of a lady I worked with for many years. I'd like to see everybody I loved.
88 years old, do you think about heaven?
Not often.
You just have faith it's there, and when you leave, you're there.
Long tunnel and the light's going to be at the end. And I hope it's quick. My sister is my closest relative. I live in duplex. She's on one side, I'm on the other. We have a sliding door between us. I hope that I die in my bed. Be easier on her. Her health is not as good as mine. And she's only 80. But I don't know what I would do if she went before I did. She envies me, my experiences.
Did you lose any friends during the war? Maybe not where you were, but did you hear reports of those that were killed that you knew?
Yes, neighbor boys, and boys I had graduated from high school with. 5 or 6 young men I had graduated with in '39 from high school. And my next door neighbor.
Go ahead and drop that cord. Okay, that's okay. You're about ready to pull the cord out of the socket there. That's okay. That's all right. So you did lose some friends. People
Yes,
you knew.
yes.
What do you think about freedom? Can you tell me what freedom means to you and the price for our freedoms?
The price.
The cost to protect our freedoms in war.
I can't tell. I am not smart enough to know. Freedom means to me to be able to get in my car and come up here and talk to you without having to ask someone or being stopped on the way to show my IDs. I don't mind showing my ID to an airplane attendant. That's not bad. I can understand that. I didn't have to do that before 9/11. That was something that jarred me. Just freedom. And having food, having electricity, having a good roof over my head and not having somebody bang on the door in the middle of the night.
Those friends of yours that died, wouldn't you say they died for the freedoms that we have?
Yes.
Yeah. Cemeteries have soldiers in them. I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
Do you know, I don't really know where 2 or 3 of the boys are buried, my high school chums, whether they're in Europe, one was a paratrooper, or whether their bodies were brought home. I don't really know.
What does the American flag mean and represent to you as a veteran?
Cold chills. I love it. I cry to hear taps. I wear a flag on my car, hanging in on plaster. It's the emblem of my country. And I'm so proud of it, and I thank my God that I am an American.
What would your message be to young people today in our schools about the flag, freedom, patriotism, and what you just said, you thank God you're American? What would your message be to the young people today?
I guess to be aware of what freedom is. They will have to see pictures of the concentration camps. They will have to know what happened. They should be taught that history. And I think to pledge allegiance to the flag every morning. I think I'm for prayer in the schools, whatever it is, whether you're Jewish or Islam or whatever. Pray to your God, whomever he may be. And just be aware that you're here and that you need to be, to know that somebody can come and take that away from you. Defend it, whether it means your life or not.
Yeah, that's good. I want to do a documentary soon on women in war and document the stories of women like yourself that have served in the military or even serving today, Vietnam and what have you. Why, Naoma, why did you call me or contact me regarding this project? You saw it advertised? And
It was in the paper.
what
It was
prompted you to contact me? Why
it
did
just
you want to
said
tell me?
women who had been in World War II, World War II veterans. I'm proud of it. I was so happy to go.
When you see those pictures of yourself, what are you thinking about?
The days that I was there, the friends I had, the experiences I had, where we were when this was taken, all those good times. I have pictures, like I said, from the Riverwalk in San Antonio, which was underdeveloped then. And my parents came out to San Antonio to see me, and we went to Arneson River Theater on the walk to hear a concert. I don't think they have it now. It's all commercialized. The Alamo. Just so much. There were missions there, beautiful old missions with.
There you go. Well, let me ask you this. World War II, it's been referred to as the greatest generation.
Don Brokaw.
Do you agree with that, and why?
Absolutely, because I feel it so. Everything changed. My little town, Bristol, was a college town. There were 3 colleges. My girls' school, Sullins College, and King College, which was co-ed. We didn't have to lock our doors. You walked downtown, you knew everybody you saw. We were a small town. Now I go downtown, I go out to eat. I don't see anybody I know. It could be because they're all gone and I am still sitting around at 88. But it's vicious now. The teenagers have changed. I came up in a very moral age. My school, which was two-year girls' school, you could tell a VI girl as far away as you could see her. We walked to town. The boarding students, I was a day student, the boarding students walked to town from the top of the hill down to State Street, 5 in a group, with hats and gloves and a chaperone. Now they just look like trash to me. And of course it's co-ed 4 now. Sullins is long since closed. King is still co-ed, but it's closely associated with the Baptist churches. So it's a good school. But my town has changed. It grew. My mother said after the war there was a ammunition plant of some sort. Now I wasn't here when it came, that brought in outsiders, Yankees, and everything changed after that.
Where were you when the war ended, and how did you hear about the war ending?
I was in Hollandia when the atom bomb was dropped, August 6th. And thrilled to death. I knew it was over. I can remember, of course, wherever our unit at Oro Bay had locked the gates with lookouts, we were protected. We could hear gunfire And it was, we were told, I don't know, I didn't see it, that it was truckloads of the black soldiers who had said they were coming to the WAC area. Of course, they put on extra guards all around. Never heard another thing about it. Then we were there a while after the war ended, and then went on to Manila. And of course, no further need for our teletyping. So we just stayed around a month or so there in Manila. Was exposed to leprosy because the Japanese had turned the leper colonies into the city of Manila, as well as the prisoners. So we were warned to be very careful about contact with anybody. And I was an Anderson A, and everything is alphabetical. I was on the first boat out. I had a friend. We had been asked if WACs were sent to Japan, would you go? Sign the roster. My name was the first one. I wanted to go. But in the meantime, the darn boat came in. So being an Anderson, are you running out of film?
Nope. I'm just looking at my monitor up here,
Oh.
so we're fine.
Being an Anderson, I was on that boat. I had a girlfriend whose name was Schultz. She didn't get on the boat. When I got home, a month or so later, it took us 38 days to get home, I had a letter from Schultz. They'd changed plans. WACs were going to Japan, and she went over. She stayed in the service and retired as a major. So,
What was your rank?
it's Buck Sergeant.
What was the unit you were with? What was the
Signal Corps, the
was there
signal
a-
base.
Was there a number or force?
Yes, but I've long
that's
since
okay.
forgotten it. It's on my papers.
That's fine. That's fine.
I can give you my Army serial number, but I cannot give you my Social Security number.
What's your Army serial number?
A308084. And I don't know. I cannot remember my Social Security number. That's strange.
Well, that's okay. This is good. I enjoy talking to you. You're giving me another perspective of World War II, and I think that's important in the day we live. Why do you think? What should our country remember about World War II?
Oh, Lord. The fact that we had to do it. It wasn't one person's choice. We were attacked. I don't think there was anything, I don't know that there was anything commercial or nobody was making a whole lot of money from it. Maybe so, I don't know. But Pearl Harbor to me was the reason we had to do it.
Are you proud that you're a World War II veteran?
I am indeed. And wish if I were able physically that I could serve some way now. But there is a point of no return. I'm well past that point.
Have people thanked you for your service?
No,
No.
no reason to. I don't need to be thanked. It was my pleasure, my duty. No, I don't need to be thanked.
What does Veterans Day mean to you?
Do you know it just slips by now? I don't celebrate. Because my husband is dead. My brother, my youngest brother, was in service. He's still alive, stone deaf. He was a radio man on a plane, and that constant thing killed the nerves. He's as patriotic as I am. So we were from a good family that loved our country. Voted for our presidents. And now I'm at that point. Who? Which? Who will put us in war again? Who will keep us out? But then the Bible says there will be war and rumors of war. take what comes and do the best you can.
It's a sign that the end's coming, right? The end times.
I hope so. The world has gone to pot as far as I'm concerned. I hate what the teens are doing. I hate the drug mess.
Did you ever think you'd be 88 years old?
Never, never, never. Of course, I never thought about it then. And in my mind, I'm not 88. But this body says, yes, you are.
That's the key, don't you think? It's your mind and your attitude.
And your heart.
Yeah. Well, you look like you're in good health.
Oh, minor ailments. Minor ones I can handle. It's the major ones that's going to kill me. But I'm not going to worry about it.
You've got a good attitude. I wouldn't want to die in a nursing home either or anything like that.
No.
There's got to be a better way. Does the work that I'm doing, documenting the stories for history's sake, and I go into schools and I talk to kids a lot. How important do you think that is with our history and what happened in World War II?
I think they should be told. I think they should be shown. And you will. I hope.
Yep. They need to know what's gone before them so they can learn.
Right.
Yeah. And they're not learning much in the schools about what I'm recording here. So.
Not learning much at all. The reading and the writing.
At the end of my interviews, Naoma, I always have the veterans give me a salute into the camera. From where you're seated, when I tell you, can you give me a salute into the camera?
Yes, I
Give
can.
me just a second here. Okay, look right into the camera and give me a salute.